Hello my friends and welcome to another pick a card reading. I hope you're all doing really well. It's been a little while. I'm sorry I've been away, but here we are. Now, I was drawn to do a reading about what are the next steps on your current path. You have three piles to choose from, as always. Pile 1 is this gorgeous polychrome jasper. Pile 2 is this beautiful milky quartz. And pile 3 is this CINNABAR crystal. So, next steps on your current path. Pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Timestamps will be in the description box below, my friends, and I'll see you at your reading. Bye. Pile 1, hello and welcome to your reading. So you chose this beautiful polychrome jasper. Next steps on your current path. Now, polychrome jasper is a stone of fusing things together, of bringing things together, of being able to function with different parts as one whole. It's about being able to recognize the different parts of yourself and how they work together, and noticing the parts that don't work together and how you can make them come together. So there's an element of that. There's an element of you being able to fuse the choices, the decisions, the elements that you have in your current situation and being able to bring them together. So I'm just going to place that there, actually just here, because I think that might be good. And then let's have a look at your first card. Reena, peace. There is no need to worry as everything is working out beautifully. So if you have any worries about whether or not something is going to work out, this is your sign that things are going to work out, pile 1. Regardless of what you think things are doing right now, how they're working out right now, they are working out for the best possible outcome right now. The universe is on your side. So let's have a look at what cards astrologically want to come out and speak to you. Okay, advice for next steps on my pile 1's current path. Pile 1's current path, advice for pile 1's current path. Wow, and we have Mars, okay. And then I'm just going to get some animal energy for you as well. And then we'll go into your tarot. Okay, my pile 1's current path, advice, and what are the next steps for my pile 1 on their current path? Pile 1's current path. Okay, so we've got a little bit of, interesting. Okay, we've got 2, I'll take the 2. So we've got swallow, rebirth and hope. And it's really interesting because today I saw swallows all around my house. There are swallows that kind of come and signify a time of year in around my home. And it's really beautiful when they come. You can just hear them just going round and round. So that's really wonderful when I hear them. I love it when they come back. And then we've got beaver, creating from scratch. It is reversed, so I'm going to take it reversed. Now, what I'm sensing here is that, you know, there is a real desire to push things forward. You want things to happen in this situation. Maybe you are on a current path where you feel that you are going in the right direction, but things aren't happening exactly as you feel that you want them to. So, with that being said, let's have a look at what the tarot wants to say with that. There is also an element of you feeling peaceful about this whole thing, of you being able to recognize that there is there are things that you may not see and that you may not understand just yet, but going forward and taking the next step is going to be really important for you to just go ahead and do. If you feel that you aren't, that you are starting from scratch, something tells me like this is a bit like the Fool reversed. So it's almost like you're not starting from scratch. You're not creating things from an absolutely new vantage point. You're actually creating something from a place where you have been before. It may not feel familiar, but actually it is a familiar place, or it may be that you're not starting from scratch. You do have other things that you are kind of working with. And what's really interesting, because, as I said about the swallows come back and let me know that summer is beginning. The warm weather is starting to come back, and it's starting to bring back these energies that come back every single time. Now, it could be that you are wanting to get out of a particular cycle, but it also could be that even though you are wanting to get out of that cycle, that this cycle, you're approaching this cycle with new hope, with new kind of things. So it's not the same. And I think there's a real impetus for you to trust your drive, like where you are drawn to. Because sometimes we feel that we can't go forward and we can't move forward in the direction where we trust because we don't want the same results. But something is telling me that even if you were to like kind of do the same thing, or to follow your gut instincts of where to go a certain way, something is saying to me like try again and just go with it, because that will still be very good for you. That's what that is saying to me. Okay, sorry, I just recognized something here. Okay, that's really interesting. There was nothing there. I thought there was like a bit of wax there, but there wasn't. So also, just because I did that, it's almost like you might find fault in something, and there really isn't anything wrong. Like there isn't really anything that you need to be worried about. So I mean, to be fair, right, it's easy for me, some random tarot reader on YouTube, to say that, for you not to be worried about your situation. There's a reason why you're coming to this reading, in order to like gain some insight into why you're doing these things, why these things are happening. Is this path right for me? What do I need to do? But there's something about you being able to trust where your kind of drive is going. Now, desire, drive, it's a similar kind of thing, but it's also like where you are putting your energy, where you feel to put your energy. So for example, like I haven't been feeling to do a tarot reading recently, but then something just said to me for me to do that. Like I really need to put out a tarot reading. I need to do some work with the cards. Now, I felt that yesterday, but I didn't do it yesterday because my energy wasn't in the right place. So it's almost like you have to decide and judge like where exactly, when the time is right for you will be the right time. I think that's important to remember. So let's have a look at what the tarot wants to say. Okay, so we've got the Eight of Wands that are coming out straight away. So there's definitely like a sense of movement. Now, if you don't feel that things are moving as fast forward as you would like, they might not be, but I do think they are going to be. I really do. And it's so interesting because when I saw this card, I did, with the compass here and the map and the what is that? That's a square, a set square, which is about building things. This is something about you being able to understand the patterns that you had previously engaged with and used to kind of move forward, to kind of cope with in your life, and about how you can adapt those things. Okay, so one more card. Just what? Oh, I'll take that one. Yeah, that one. Okay. Right. So what do we have here? So wow. So you've got like, okay, you've got 3 major arcana. So this is a big thing. I'll be honest with you, pile 1, not a lot of this seems to be within your control. Like, this is external factors, and I think what this is about you trusting that things are working out in the way that they're supposed to, with hidden blessings that you'll soon understand, which is something from a deck of cards which I kind of use for my own personal use. And one of the sayings is all is well. And I think it's got like Archangel Jeremiah, who is the angel of being outdoors, being in the moment, allowing yourself to be in the energy of the present moment so that you can just flow, or you can combine yourself with flow. Now, there is an element of control here, and you do want things to be controlled. We do have quite strong male energy here, even though we've got like this lovely female figure here, which is very Empress-like. But the Emperor means to me that there is a sense of initiation, a sense of dominance. Not only is there this idea that you want to take control of things, but you are in control. You're in control of how you feel. You're in control of, you know, how you react to a situation. And I think when we truly understand, and that also comes with maturity, which is also the Hierophant. And I just want to say that also the Hierophant is ruled by Venus. Venus also rules the Empress. The Empress is before the Emperor, and the Empress is creativity. So there's something about you being able to understand the elements that you've created in this situation and to trust in that. And there may be adaptations that you do have to work with. You may have to change some attitudes, some ways of doing things. And this will come easier than you think. Now, with the Devil here, the Devil says to me that there is a little bit of obsession about this. You may be feeling, oh my God, I really have to like push forward with this. I have to be doing more. I have to be doing this. And, you know, personally, I think that that's a great thing, because it means that you're dedicated towards moving forward. But then there is also this element of you being educated about that obsession and understanding, okay, there's good sides and there's bad sides to that. So there's this real kind of sense of control. Now, we don't have Temperance here, so there isn't anything about being still and balanced, but that is an element here. There is a real sense of active movement. And particularly with the Eight of Wands, even though there is this sense of peace that is coming, and sometimes the idea of not doing anything or just allowing things to flow is the action. So I think that that's what's coming up here more than anything. So the next steps for you on your current path is that to trust that the decisions that you've made are actually the right decisions. That's massively, and I think massively the case here. And what I think is that you are not used to that, because there is a massive element of control here. So it's almost like you have to trust in that. And I think you also have to remember about past experiences, about how things return and they come in a new way, they come in a new form, and trusting that that happens, because there is a lot of intentional manifesting energy that is at work here, and now there's the opportunity to allow it to manifest and to kind of come forward and to bring forward the fruits and give birth to the fruits that you've earned and worked for. So let's take a look at some clarification for these cards. I think the Devil is also warning you, like, not to get trapped in certain patterns of thinking. So there may be this sense of where you do go into like a kind of spiral where you think that things aren't going to happen because they're not moving as fast as you want them to. But then it's almost like you understand the experience, and you know that you have the power of intentionality with the Emperor. You do have the power to create your own destiny, and you do have the power to decide what is right for you on this path. But then there's this kind of real maturity that's needed to take that step back and know when not to take action, or when not to like move forward, because sometimes, because these are also circular cards, these also come up as the reversed meaning. So I think there's an element of you understanding that when things don't work out the way that you want them to, or they're not happening in the way that you observe them to be, in terms of like you believing that oh, if this was happening, then I'd be much happier. I think you need to abandon that sense of thinking, that way of thinking, because, you know, things change. The situations are not the same. And even if you've been down this road before, as I said, this is not the same thing. So please, can you clarify these cards, please, dear Spirit? Thank you. Can you clarify? Can you clarify? Yeah, I'll take that. There's also an element of you taking your time, because I feel like there's something that needs to be kind of like, you need to recognize the different parts and how they fit together, and how they fit together now compared to how they did before in the previous incarnation of this path. If this is a new path, but yet you're recognizing situations, it's about you considering that and being very mindful of that. What are the next steps on my pile one's path? What are the next steps on my pile one's path? Thank you, Spirit. Oh, we've got two here. I'll just take that one, but I will take note of that one. I'll look at that one first. Okay, so we've got the Knight of Cups. So with the Knight of Cups, I'll just pop that there. Like, I feel, and it's reversed, it's almost like there's a little bit of... I wouldn't say complacency, but it's almost like you don't feel so enthusiastic about the way that things are turning out. So it's like, okay, Reena, you're telling me to be like chill about this, but it's causing me a bit of unrest, and I don't know what's going on. So how can I, you know, approach this with a kind of loving attitude? So let's have a look. Wow, the Devil is the Six of Cups. Okay. Clarified by the Six of Cups. Then we've got the Eight of Wands, clarified by the Tower. And then we've got the Four of Swords. I'm laughing. I'm laughing because this is just classic. Like, you know, there's this idea where it's like, I can just imagine some of you are like, Reena, what's going on? Like, I need to know what's happening. That's why I've come to this reading. But I mean, it is really clear here that you've just got to kind of let it all kind of fall around you, because you're going to be all right. And then you've got here Queen of Wands. Yes. See, I was talking to you about the idea that you are a master manifester, and that's absolute Emperor energy. The Queen of Wands to me is like a lesser magician. It's also the female version. So this comes back to the idea of the Empress as well. So there's something about you being driven and understanding your power and really recognizing what you have. But with the Hierophant and the Four of Swords, this is about you resting in that space and you just being like, right, I'll be able to react in the correct way whenever I need to. I don't need to worry about the future. The Tower and the Eight of Wands is almost about, to me, is about understanding the lack of control that you have over a situation. Absolutely. And that's why I laughed, because, you know, sometimes when everything is like disintegrating around us and you're like, fuck, what the hell is going on? Like, it's just about you just recognizing that it won't be like that. It won't be like that. It doesn't stay like that. These are both very quick cards. These are things that happen very quickly. Like, it could be something that just sprang to mind is if, for example, you have a kind of like, I don't know if that's a good example, but like, say if something happens to your car, say your car breaks down or something in a really like intense place, or maybe like you know, you get laid off from your job or something like that, and then you're thinking, oh my God, what's going on? But it's almost like there's a real sense of being able to trust what the universe is throwing at you right now. Now, the Six of Cups with the Devil is almost like a return to comfort, and I think that's what's also going on here. Like, there is you know, there may be a tendency to return to places of comfort because you know that certain things worked in a certain way and that's the way that you're going to do them. But that's the kind of cycle that you need to break out of, because, you know, if you have particular coping mechanisms, I'm not saying that, oh yeah, you don't go and do them completely, but just understand like what space that if you were to go immediately to those comfort like areas. So for example, if you know that going out with your friends is a way of you being able to release some kind, or like talking with them and really discussing, maybe picking up the phone and talking to your friends and discussing with them about this issue so that you can get their opinions. Something is telling me that even though it brought you like a sense of comfort previously, it may not be the right way to kind of go forward with things, because I don't think that you fully understand what the outcome is going to be yet. So until you actually know what is the ground that you're standing on first, which indicates, which the Four of Swords says to me that you need to rest and allow the dust to settle, then you're able to make the correct decision. Because then maybe it won't be until after like all of this has happened that, you know, you decide that you want to like discuss it or talk with other people about it. Now with the Knight of Cups here as well reversed, it's almost like there's a sense of not really believing and not really being optimistic about this situation. It also could be that there may be somebody that, you know, you thought that was going to help you and didn't. Maybe you thought that there was a certain person that was going to maybe assist you in this kind of endeavor or be on this path with you, and they just aren't there. They're not there. So that's something just to, you know, recognize. And I'll be honest with you, like there's something here that tells me that this is something that you've seen before. Like you understand this pattern of how this is happening, but it's just not the same, if that makes sense. So with that being said, I have got cards where I'm going to ask a question. Am I going to do the question now? Actually, no, I'll do it. So I've got cards where I will ask a question and it's either a yes or no question. But before, so you have that in the back of your mind. But while we think about that, and while you think about your question, which will be a yes or a no about the situation, advice for the next steps on your current path, I'm just going to pull one of these. Maybe two. Let's give you two. Let's give you two. Two pearls of wisdom. So the pearls of wisdom are, number one, nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart. And number two, to be happy, we must not be too concerned with others. Interesting, as they say. What is it? Is it comparison is the key to misery? Oh, fuck. I can't remember what the saying is. It's the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of all joy. So it's about not comparing your situation to others, not comparing your situation to what's happened previously, which is that entire theme of your reading. Okay, so think about your question, pile one. Is it a yes or no answer in relation to what are the next steps on your current path? A yes or no question. What are the next steps for my pile one's current path? Yes or no question. Okay, we've got two cards, so I'll give you two, so you can have two questions. So the first question, this one that we were thinking about, is yes. And you've got open your heart, someone is thinking of you, lead with authority, and don't give up. So what I sense from that is that you are highly protected, okay? So you might be thinking, what am I doing? I don't know if what is happening is for my greatest good. This is saying, yes, it is. And also you are protected in this decision. So don't feel that you are not being looked out for by the universe, okay? So because we've got another card, think of another question, okay, in concern with what are the next steps on my path. Pause the video if you wish as well. And then I'm going to turn it over. So what are the next steps on my pile one's current path? Okay, and this is also a yes. So we've got expand your mind, time to heal old wounds, summon the courage to say no, watch how things unfold. So we've got two strong yeses here to reassure you that what is going on is the right decision for you, however you decide to go with that. Okay, so to close out your reading, pile 1, let's have a look. Because, I mean, what I'm getting here, if I'm just thinking about a few situations, it could be that you might be starting a new business venture and nothing is happening. Nothing is happening at all. Or things are happening, but they're not happening in the way that you envisaged them to happen. And what the universe is saying to you is that it's fine. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Just don't compare your journey to other people and just remember yourself, okay? And just remember who you are and what you're doing and just keep on taking each step at a time. The first kind of thing that came to me when I pulled that card was that the idea is that you may not be able to see the entire path. You just need to know to take the next step. And that is definitely what I feel with you, pile 1. So to close out your reading, my loves, this final card, a little bit of love and affirmation. Oh, answers are questionable things. I love that. Look at the bunny baby. Oh my god, these cards, I love them so much. Oh, and the flowers. So even if you have the answer to something, doesn't mean that it puts you at ease. It doesn't mean that just because you know what's going on doesn't mean that it's a great thing. It's about you consolidating the parts of yourself and being able to just be all right with that. For those of you who meditate, I would highly advise just stilling yourself and meditating. If you have trouble with that, maybe do some movement like just before you do that. Like I find now, I used to be able to meditate straight away, and now I'm finding that I meditate better when I've put my body through a little bit of movement. I've done some things where basically I'm just getting really into my body and being in the moment, and then I'm able to just kind of sit and not expect anything from the outcome of what I'm doing. And I think that that sense of I've done the work, I know what I'm doing, I know that I've got this, like I've got these things I can control, but now it's just up to me to just allow it and just to leave it to the universe to kind of like work out. So I hope that helps, pile 1. This is a really nice reading to go back into after it's been a while. But if you did like this reading, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos and hit the bell icon so that you know of every time I upload. But otherwise, my darlings, have a wonderful morning, evening, night or day whenever you're choosing to watch this. Thank you so much for being here, and remember that honesty is always key. Bye. Pile 2, hi and welcome to your reading. So you chose this Milky Quartz and this card here. Now Milky Quartz is a really beautiful soothing stone. Interesting, there's a little piece of wax on there. What am I getting from this? I'm getting a really peaceful vibe, if I'm honest, like a peaceful, chilled out vibe. It is pretty clear you can't see what's going on. You can't see. I kind of feel like the whole kind of cloudiness and milkiness of, even the consistency of the stone, and the idea of like milk, like it's pretty solid. Like it can change color depending on what you add to it. But there's that idea that you can't, it's an opaque liquid. It's not really transparent. It is depending on if it's like, thin enough, but there's something about you not being able to see what's going on. Now, that can be a little bit disconcerting, so let's have a look at what this card wants to say. But there is a maternal aspect, so it's almost like holding yourself in that position of not knowing. Similar to pile 1. Okay, say it's Sige. I think it's Sige. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but it says quiet time. Take some quiet time alone to rest, meditate, and contemplate. So it's a very similar message to pile 1. Except, we'll see. It's going to be different, obviously. But I don't know. I just think that there is this idea of you. The more time you spend alone right now will give you the opportunity to kind of like sit in this space where you don't know what's going on. That's the message that's very clear. And very similar to pile 1. So if you're attracted to it, go and watch it. But the thing that's different here is the fact that you got the milky quartz, and the milky quartz is just that beautiful, really nurturing stone. So it's almost like you have to really fully embrace this moment and be able to feel like you're nurturing yourself, rather than you thinking about, oh, what's going to happen. Whereas pile 1 didn't get that. Like they just have to just sit tight anyway and kind of consolidate themselves. But whereas like with you, what I'm thinking is or feeling even, is that there's this idea of understanding that you really don't know what's happening. Actually, it's super similar, but let's see what comes out. Oh, wow. Okay, Sarah's. Right. And look at these colours. And we've got green. We've also got this female energy. So really strong female energy. Sarah's is almost, I think, was the name for also Demeter as well. Let me just bring out that book, because she has this, I don't know if it's an asteroid or if it's I think it is an asteroid. I think so. What does it say? So yeah, it's an asteroid. So it's the mother figure, the ultimate mother figure in mythology. So Demeter. And this is I don't know, this looks quite maternal as well. Things are abundant in your life right now. Reaching for your goals is at its peak. You just need to stay focused on the things that matter most to you. Don't let minor distractions get in the way of that or influence your decisions. You know what is best for you. Okay, the changing of the seasons is a metaphor for the position of Ceres in your chart. So if you know your chart, have a look at where Ceres is. But there's a real, very, very reminiscent, or very, very synchronous with the milky quartz. There is something about nurturing, something about the giving of life, and, you know, really feeding yourself, taking this time to nurture, to nourish yourself very deeply. Oh, this is interesting. So, oh, okay. Yeah. It's Demeter. Ceres is Demeter in the Roman mythology like system. So the idea of Demeter struck Ceres struck a bond, a deal with Pluto to say that I want my daughter to come up 6 months of the year. I want my daughter for 6 months of the year, and the other 6 months, okay, you can have her. So it's really important for you to recognize, like, if you don't take care of yourself and your own needs, how that can affect you within a certain point. And I don't know, you might be working yourself up in a little way. So let's have a little look at what's going on here with, I'm going to just pull some animal energy for you, and then we can take it from there in terms of the tarot. Let's have a look. I don't know, Pole 2, you might notice yourself like behaving in a certain way, and that might not be conducive to you feeling okay. So just notice that. I'm not saying for you to, like, you know, that you have to remedy it. It's just understand how this makes you feel and use meditation to kind of like learn from it. That's what I'm getting. Because there's contemplation that's quite strong here. So it's understanding like your position a bit more intimately. Ooh, dragon. The power of being. Good Lord. Okay, right. So there is a lot of fierce energy here. A lot of fierce energy. I don't know. I'm just feeling really strong Cancerian vibes here. And what I'm sensing is that idea of, you know, when you don't know what is going on, it just really puts you on edge. I feel like there's a little bit of like reversed Queen of Cups here. So let's see what the tarot has to say about the situation, because I feel like you need to calm the waters. You need to calm the seas. Demeter was fuming, like absolutely, sorry, Ceres was absolutely fuming when she realized that she wasn't going to be able to see her daughter anymore. That's why she was like, I ain't having this. I'm seeing my daughter. It's my daughter. And you know, when she wasn't able to see her daughter, she literally put the whole world in a state where nothing was growing. So, you know, I think there's also an element of understanding the level of power you have within the situation and how powerful your mood and your emotions and your energy can be in this situation. Because with that dragon, it's just like, cripes, you know, you don't want to like kind of anger this dragon. You want to, I think maybe you're underestimating the sense of power that you have. How many do we have here? 1, 2, 3. Do we have 4? No. And then one more. Okay, we've got 2 more, but I want just 1, sorry. Just one. No. See, I can't even get like just one card. I just want 1 card, yeah? Just one to talk to me, to help us. We don't want to overwhelm my beautiful pile. 2s. Okay, thanks. Right, let's have a look. 3 of Cups reversed, 7 of Cups. We've got a lot of water, and then we've got, my God, okay, look, what's this? What is that? 2 of Cups, Jesus, okay, right. And then we've got, oh, okay, so there's deep female power here. So much water. Your emotions are going a bit up the pole, man. Like, I don't know, like, it seems that things haven't, maybe you're just trying to, like, understand what's going on within a situation. It could be that you're organizing some kind of event or something like that with other people. It could be that you're like maybe wanting people to remember your birthday or something like that. But then there's just a lot of things, like maybe the kind of sense of choice is maybe disabling you and you're like kind of getting quite agitated about it. But then you're also like stuck in the place where if you don't do anything, then nothing will get done. I feel a bit like, I feel like you have to kind of instigate some kind of movement, or feeling that you have to instigate that. And what's really going on is that, you know, you're actually having to do nothing. It may also be that someone else is organizing something for you and you just are like, I can't deal with this because I don't know whether or not it's going to get done, you know, that kind of thing. But there is a real sense of trust here. Like, you really have to allow your intuition to guide you. And it's really interesting how we said about Ceres, because we have a pomegranate here, and the pomegranate is about the underworld. So this is about like you understanding how this situation of you not knowing what the next steps are on this path, that how you learn how to trust your intuition on a deeper level, particularly when it comes to other people. It's definitely to do with other people, I think, because you've got the 2 of Cups and the 3 of Cups. So this is about all of your relationships in a way, and about maybe like how you choose to behave in relationships, or how you choose the right relationships for you, you know. And I think that's both in your relationships with people on a one-to-one level, and also as friends as well, because I think that you get quite affected within a, you know, a community with others, particularly when you're in a social situation. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's something about you really recognizing that your mind could probably like go off on one. I don't think that like you catastrophize or anything like that. I just think that there's a lot of emotion that's tied up behind the fact of not knowing. Like, things just really get stirred up if you don't know what's going on. They really do. So this is about you realizing that it's okay, you know. Also, I'm just gonna put this out there. It might not be okay, all right. But I mean, like, I don't see that here. Like, I don't see that there's going to be some kind of like big thing that happens that you're going to have to deal with. I don't see that. That was a bit pile 1, not you. But like, whereas here, it's about you being able to trust other people. And you've just got to keep as cool as a cucumber with it. Because, you know, the High Priestess is about you doing nothing. It's about you being absolutely passive. It's really interesting how we've got like blue, We've got this kind of like energy, which is also blue. She's got blue skin. We've got green. We've also got like quite a lot of blue here. We've got this kind of inner fire of the dragon, and the internal kind of components of the card are kind of, you know, and then there's this fire here, but it's purple. So you've got this kind of like internal stuff that can kind of go mad, but then you need to just, you know, channel that somewhere that's going to benefit you on an intuitive level as opposed to an active level. This is a very passive reading, whereas like it's interesting. So like as with like pile one was like it was understanding where you are and then really recognizing your power, whereas this is not just recognizing the power, but it's about you understanding that you need to channel that elsewhere into your own kind of self, so that you can work with it constructively. Because if you don't, it could result in some, you know, I wouldn't say it would result in anything too like untoward, but you know, I think it's just recognizing that you have that sense of power. That could really, like, it could be better used elsewhere, you know. You don't need to be worrying about things you can't control, you know. And I think that's the message that was similar to pile one. So I want to put this one there. So we've got the 7 of Pentacles. Wow, 7 of Cups and 7 of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so you're not happy at all with like how things are going, but you know that things are changing, which I think is a good thing. The Hermit, I mean, that's exactly what this is all saying. It's about you. I think this is a time for you to be alone, for you to really reflect on your own being, on your own sense of self, and to really trust that. Wow, we've got the Magician reversed. Okay, right. And then we've got talk to me. Okay, 9 of Swords, right, okay. So what I was saying about like worrying, over worrying, actually, you may be worrying quite a bit. And I'll be honest with you, pile 2, there could be a sense of you regressing into a state where you try to manipulate situations. And I think that's what it's talking about. Because Magician is 1, High Priestess is 2. So I think what's going on here is you need to understand that, as I said, like before, you can influence the situation more than you realize. If your emotional state is in a negative space, it's going to influence the situation. Like it's going to influence it. But I think more so it's going to put you into a space where it's just going to drive you nuts. Like the 9 of Swords reversed, it could either mean that you are not worrying about stuff. It could also be that you are overthinking about stuff, so much so that it's disturbing you. So, and because we've got the Magician reversed here, I think there may be a tendency to do that. I think you understand that you're not happy with the way that things are, but this is going to change. Like it is changing. It's just because right now at this time, whereas like, and I'm sorry I keep on comparing you to pile 1, but it's just that the messages are really similar, but they've just got different ways of approaching the situation. And I was like thinking, I really hope this isn't as similar as pile 1, but now I'm recognizing the differences. And I think for you guys, you may need to go and watch it if the card resonates with you. But what I'm thinking here is this whole idea of Ceres and the fact that she, you know, stopped any kind of food growing. You know, the earth stopped producing, you know, it went into autumn, winter, while she was really mourning the loss of her daughter. So I think you just have to recognize that, you know, your emotions have so much power here. There's just so much cups here. We don't have the queens though, or the kings. So there is a sense of like how these situations influence you. And that is where the lesson is here. Your next steps on your path, pile 2, on this current, the next steps for you on this current path, pile 2, is understanding that you are not going to get things that you want right now. It's not going to happen in the way that you think it is. It's about you turning inwards and reflecting on what's going on for you right now. Best thing to do is to observe your emotions right now. I think that's really important. Observing how these emotions and how these waters move within you. Recognizing the parts where like other people are causing you to have this kind of like, you know, place where you feel like you need to manipulate a situation into something that makes you feel better. And really moving with that, because that's where the power is. I think there's a deep sense of power to be accumulated from this kind of understanding of yourself. This is fucking cool, man. I really like this. So this is a real moment of you to understand yourself in such a profound way. Pile 1 and pile 2. Really, like, it really is. Okay. Ooh. Okay, I will give you some pearls of wisdom, considering we're swimming in the deep blue sea. So we have pearl 1. Oh, sorry. Keep on saying pearl 1. This is so bad. Okay, so we've got this one. The pearl 1. The tools I need to succeed are in my possession. And pearl number 2. My negative thoughts and self-images are gone. Okay. So that's nice and synchronous for you. Okay, so I want you to think of a question that's either a yes or a no. Pause the video if you wish. We may have 2 questions, but let me see, because depending on how many cards come out, it will either be 1 or 2. But let's start with the first one, the most important burning question that you have that you want a yes or a no to. Think about it in relation to the next steps on your current path for this situation. And for my pile 2s, next steps on their current path, next steps on their current path, next steps on their current path. Wow, look at that. I love that. And then we had like... No, actually. So again, I've got pile 1 in my head. So ending is near. So the answer is yes. Express how you feel. Trust divine timing. No risk, no magic. Leap of faith. Now, what I would say is if you need to talk to other people, go and do it. Like if you need to discuss with other people what is going on, then you do it. You know, talk to people about it if you need to. You may not need to do it like as explicitly as you may feel like you need to, but you can vocalize, you can communicate, you know, I'm not feeling too good about this. What do you think I should do? What do you think I should kind of like, you know, what's my next action? And then that's where you kind of go to this sense of contemplation, because even again, like it doesn't feel that like you could communicate with people and that be the answer, even though it does say to express how you feel. Maybe actually I think what is more and more kind of relevant to this card here with the Hermit is the idea that you are able to observe your emotions. So observe how this is manifesting within you. I hope that makes sense without being too cryptic, pile 2. So to close out your reading, my darlings, I have one more card for you, and here it is. Oh, I love this. There goes destiny masquerading as chaos. Masquerading as chaos. I love that. I love that. And again, you know, these are really easy things for me to say. These should only be confirmation of what you already know, okay? Pile 2, not anything new. I'm not telling you anything new. This is something that you already know. And you just kind of need to like sit in that milk, you know? Sit in that milky state and allow yourself to be in a space where you can't really see what's going on, and just allow yourself to revert back to an introspective frame of mind. Pile 2. That was really interesting. I like that. I hope you did too. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe for more videos and click the bell icon so that you get notified of when I do upload. And if you want to go deeper, you can contact me for a personal reading. That's no problem. But otherwise, have a wonderful morning, evening, night, or day, whenever you're choosing to watch this. And remember, my darlings, take care of yourselves, and that honesty is always key. Bye. Pile 3, hi and welcome to your reading. So you chose this CINNABAR crystal and this card here. Now CINNABAR is a really interesting stone because CINNABAR is, if you were to get like the actual CINNABAR, which is this incredibly beautiful, like red, bright red, deep red crystal, which was used in so many different things. Like it was used in food. I think it was used in like, I just realised I needed some incense. It was used in food. It was used in like colourings for like, I don't know if it was used for colourings for clothes, but it was used maybe even for makeup or something like that. But guess what? It's incredibly toxic, like super toxic. The only reason why I can handle this stone here is because it's in this kind of form. If it was chipped, it might be quite dangerous for me to like hold it. It's also an exceptionally like prosperous stone. So they say like if you just notice pile 2 stone there is there. If you were to have a piece of CINNABAR, it would mean that like you'd be exceptionally prosperous. So what I'm getting from that is the idea that you hold something. It's really interesting. All the readings have like led on, like they're almost like the next stage, which they usually do with my readings. They kind of like, pile 1 is at a particular stage, then pile 2 is almost at the next stage, and then pile 3 are like a league of their own, but they're sometimes the most kind of like, I don't think it's advanced is the right word, it's just the more they're kind of further along the timeline. And this is what I'm sensing here. It's almost like you understand that with having that stone, that you understand that what, you know, there may be some toxic traits that you have within you that may cause you to kind of not only negate the situation that might be happening, but cause you to have not a great attitude about it, which is probably why you're listening to this reading. But it's also about how do you use that energy for a good cause. That's what I'm sensing here. So let's have a look. Wow, Mau, Mother Earth, you are called upon to help with environmentalism. So what I'm sensing here is about you recognizing the influence that you have and the power that you have of your own abilities and how that works. And, you know, I think the next steps for you in your path, it may be more involved than the other 2 piles. They were quite passive, but whereas like with you, I'm thinking there's something slightly more active. So let's just have a little look. Let's have a look at my pile, the astrology for pile 3, please. The next steps on their current path, next steps on their current path, next steps on their current path. Please, Spirit, thank you so much. Next steps on their current path. Okay, there's a lot here, because that happened twice. Next step on their current path. Okay, we've got 2 cards. I'll take them both. We've got Pisces, and then we've also got Chiron, yeah. So you guys may be on a healing path. What do I mean by that? That means that you're going to be healing others. I don't think that this is about just you. This is the wounded healer. So, and also Pisces as well. There's something to do with intuition and not being able to access the sense of intuition. It could also be to do with like 12th house energy. So it could be that, you know, about not knowing what exactly is the path ahead. Very similar. I mean, like obviously all of you have come to me or come to this reading because, you know, you want to know what the next steps are on your path. The running thing that has happened with each of the readings is that, you know, you don't know the next steps on the path, so you just have to be okay with that in a way. I'm curious. I don't know, I feel like I want to do your tarot first before I do the animal energy, so let me do that first. So I'm going to mix it up a bit, and I'm going to have a look at the tarot. So talk to me a little bit more about pile 3 and what the next step on their current path is, please, dear Spirit. That'd be really nice. Pile 3, what is the next steps and their current path? What are the next steps and their current path? Okay. Pisces reversed also could be that you're being pulled in 2 different directions. Like you don't know what to do. You don't know whether or not to move in this direction or that direction. And you may feel that you are called to heal and that you're called to help others. But then there can be something else that is pulling your attention. Because whenever I see Pisces reversed, I kind of think of the 2 fish, not, you know, and it's almost like 2 completely separate directions. I feel that the fish, they're conjoined by these 2, like by this almost like an umbilical cord. Not quite the twins because they're 2 separate bodies. But as in Gemini is like more kind of like the facets of different facets of one kind of personality. Whereas like with Pisces, it's like 2 separate entities that have completely different personalities that are functioning within one space, in my opinion. So I feel like there's an understanding here of that. I do feel like throat chakra energy as well, and also higher third eye energy here. So it may be to do with like how you, like your opinions about something and about what your belief systems and your opinions are versus what you believe you should do. Okay, let's have a look. So we've got Page of Pentacles. We've got 9 of Cups. We've got Knight of Pentacles. Okay, 2 knights. That's really interesting. Sorry, Page, Knight, 2. Okay. And then the 8 of Cups. Interesting. Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm glad I did that first. So, Pile, I can see your dilemma. Like, it's almost like you're torn between something that you know that you've always wanted, but you're going to have to walk away from something quite significant. It is the right time for you to do that. It's the right time for you to walk away from this thing. But it is almost like you're being torn in 2 different directions. So the idea is that I think it's important for you to have a plan and to be quite still about things. There's all the similar themes in the other 2 piles. So if you are attracted to one of the other 2 piles, please do go watch them, because they will probably have a message for you. But it's interesting here. We've got Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and with the Page of Pentacles, and then we have 9 of Cups, which is this kind of like, and we have Pisces here, which rules the 9 of Cups, and then we have the Knight of Pentacles, which is just its own thing, and then we have again Pisces with 8 of Cups. So I mean, I think that's pretty clear. Like, you know, you are being torn in 2 directions, but the one that you know that you need to walk away from, I think you need to go steadfastly in that direction. You really do. You need to face that direction at least. You may not need to move into it immediately, but you need to face it. And it's so interesting. I just realized, Jesus. Okay, so we've got like this woman looking at the earth, and the Page of Pentacles is actually like they look at the pentacle in the Rider-Waite, and also with the Knight of Pentacles, it looks at the thing, and with the Page of Pentacles, it looks at the pentacle. And what's interesting is that the way that she's looking at the pentacle is almost like a combination of the 2 that are looking at the pentacle with the Knight and the Page, because the Page looks at it with this sense of curiosity, inquisitiveness. The Knight is almost looking at it as in like, this is my thing that I need to take care of. So it's almost like you have to recognize that this is what you've wanted. And that you are moving in a way that you have wanted to, but it might not be as easy to step forward into that role just yet, because there's a lot of emotional attachment to it. And you've got court cards here. So there's a big amount of emotion that's attached, but it is essentially what you want. And also it's about you having a plan to be able to deal with the fact that you may not, that you know that you need to walk away from this. So it's almost like you need to have a plan. You absolutely need to have a plan. You can't just go in willy-nilly thinking that you're going to be able to deal with how you feel about this situation. It's very feeling. And I think it's also recognizing that your feelings are going to be a major factor in how you react to this situation. I think, let's have a look at what the animals want to say. It's tough. This is a toughie, because we start off with the wounded healer. So this is something that's very close to you. You know, you may have suffered with this thing. It could be the whole idea of you moving into a space of like helping people, healing people. But then it's almost like you really need to recognize how you've dealt with your own trauma and how you can use that to help others. Because we have the Chiron here. We have Chiron. Chiron says to me that this is something that you've been through. That, you know, something you're deriving your want to move forward and help people from your own experiences, you know, from your own space of hurt. And I mean, to be honest with you, pile 3, like, I feel like you've dealt with it. Like, you have dealt with it. It could also be a point of where, like, you're thinking, shit, I don't really want to go through that again. But you're not going to go through that again. It's not going to be in the same way. You just have to recognize that this, maybe you thought, okay, it feels to me like, you know, like, oh, I want to help people doing this thing. But then it's like, oh shit, do I really want to like go in and help people if I know that there's a possibility I could get re-traumatized? But actually what's going on is that you've already dealt with it. Like, you dealt with the stuff. You're actually at a high level to be able to deal with it and to help others. And it's very right that you are being still, because there is there's a necessity for you to formulate some kind of plan going forward. It's almost like you need some kind of contingency plan just in case you do get triggered or whatever, because the Piscean energy reverse tells me that there is a propensity to possibly get, or there is a very big possibility you may get triggered in this situation, because it feels like what you're doing is big. It doesn't feel like it's small. It feels like you're moving into like a space where you could be triggered. It may be that you, for example, you go into counseling or you go into like therapy work, and part of you, most of the time when it comes to like psychological therapy or any of the kind of therapies, most of the time you have to be in therapy yourself for a certain amount of hours. And also understanding the elements of like seeing your clients and understanding how your clients can trigger you. So there's a lot of that here. That's what I'm feeling. Okay, let's have a look. Wow, fox cunningness. Oh, I love that. That's so cool. So there's a sense of dexterity that you need to have with this situation. That's why I said that it's important to formulate a plan. You need to formulate a plan, because you can't just work. Even though fox is about like, you know, dealing with the situation as it comes up, there's something, and having that dexterity, there's something about the essence of a plan that will help you to move forward. Because there, I don't know, it could be that you do have a little bit of rabbit in headlights kind of vibe, but I don't think so, to be honest. And the thing that kills it out of all of this is that you wanted this, like you wished it. And there's almost a point, it could be for some of you, I'm not saying take what resonates, discard the rest, but like, if some of you didn't want to do, like, if some of you really wanted this, and then all of a sudden you get it, and you're like, shit, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, and now I don't know if I really want it. Does that make sense? Because there's a real, as I said, there's that conflict that's going on within you. So, I also think that a thing of you recognizing you decided to walk this path and you want to go ahead and do it. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. You have to recognize that there are things that you're going to have to deal with. I mean, that's the whole thing of like doing therapy and then making sure that you have therapy yourself, is to make sure that you can like deal with these triggers, deal with these things that come up. Being a client of your own. Like with the majority of the work that I do, I do shamanic work. So it's about like me understanding certain elements of where my clients could go to. I usually can see the space where they go to. Not intentionally, I don't travel there, but I can usually sense it when I facilitate the space. But I can only do that because I've done that. I've gone on those journeys. I've journeyed so much to different places, but I kind of know, like I know where it is, like I know those spaces. Most of the time it comes like a deep intuition that I know of these places where my clients are going to go to. I recognize what they're saying when they're telling me about their journeys, and I recognize these spaces. So it's about you recognizing that. And if, for example, if I go to that space where my client goes, and I know that that's really triggering for me, what am I going to do in that situation? I'm there to hold the space. I'm not there to be triggered by that situation and allow myself to sink. No, what I would do is I would call upon my power animals. I call upon my guides, my ancestors, all of the spirit, all of the contingencies that I have in place in terms of my gifts, in terms of like what I've experienced before, the different entities that help me. Then I have those on board. I have that knowledge that where I've been journeying and formulating this relationship with my power allies and my animals, that they will help me regardless of whatever happens, So it's almost like really recognizing that contingency plan and knowing it inside out, almost in a way like preparing for the worst but expecting the best, So, okay, let's have a look at this Page of Pentacles. So this is really interesting because your reading's like it's quite pragmatic. So it looks like you've got more work to do, Path 3. Looks like you've got more work. Your work's, you've got more to do. You've got more to think about. You've got more to work on, because, it's interesting, like, when I first started working with some people about the dark night of the soul, the real understanding of the dark night of the soul is that it isn't just one dark night of the soul. It's something that continuously happens, continuously. We just get better at dealing with it. So I think only like now, I'm like, okay, it's fine. It's all right. It is what it is, Don't get too depressed around other people, because otherwise then you'll just be like a, sad sack. But yeah, like you just kind of like... You kind of realize and recognize, you really see both sides of the world, the darkness and the beauty, and also the fact that there is darkness in the beauty, and there's beauty in the darkness, which is beautiful. So let's have a look at the clarification of these cards. Okay, so the Page of Pentacles is clarified by the Lovers reversed. Okay, I see. Then we've got the Nine of Cups, which is clarified by Death reversed. Oh, okay. And then we've got the Knight of Pentacles with the Magician reversed. Wow, in the same position. Okay, this is really interesting. Shit. Okay, right. Then we've got the Tower. This is pretty intense. Okay. So, I think this is actually so relevant to what I was just saying, because I think some of you are really on the path. Like, you really are on the deep spiritual path. And I fully think that there are things that are going to trigger you in a way that you might not be ready for. So it's about you being really stoic, and understanding how these can change you in a particular way. The Page of Pentacles is, the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving card in the deck. And for me, like when I see the Magician reversed, it is the ultimate form of manipulation. So I think you're going to be up against people that are really gonna fucking get under your skin. So you have to be really, really vigilant about what you're doing. Exceptionally vigilant. What's really interesting as well about the fox is that foxes were hunted for centuries, but yet they still survived. They're not like a vicious animal. They can be vicious animals, but they're not like big animals that can defend themselves against us humans. But yet they still manage to kind of like survive with the dexterity and cunning that they have. And it's about having that personality, because I don't know what it seems to me, right? Pile 3, this might only be relevant for some of you, but you could be going into some dark places. And I think it's really important for you to like remember like how you deal with things in these dark places. For those of you who come to my readings, you know that my readings aren't about like all love and light and hopium. When you do this work, in terms of spiritual work, healing work, you come up against some dark shit, man. So it's what I'm saying, what I'm feeling here is that there is that here, because love is reversed. It's about people who haven't made the right choices, okay? So it's about you recognizing that within yourself. It could be that you went through some kind of intense situation to cause you to come on this path of being a healer. This is what I saw anyway before these cards came up, but it's interesting how the cards are confirming what I said. And the fact that we've got four major arcana, 3 of them are reversed. So this is a blockage in energy. And it's not talking about your blockage in energy. It's talking about how you heal it, helping others heal their blockages in their energy is gonna, that has the potential to fuck you up. So you have to like make sure that you are like fully, you can't ever be fully healed, okay? That's bullshit. You can't be fully healed to deal with stuff, but you can be better equipped to know that if something fucks you up, to when to back the fuck off. Okay? This is quite stern. And it's something that I teach people because I'm really militant in that respect. I think that that's super important. And I think it's also a concept that's missed in the spiritual community today, that it's really important that you make sure that you know the choices that you're making. Sometimes people aren't going to make the right choice. They're not going to make the choice that is in the element of love or with the highest good feelings for everyone. It could be very, very much made out of fear. So there's something here that needs to kind of like, I think there's a real recognition that you'll be dealing with things that are undead. You'll be dealing with ghosts. You'll be dealing with things that are not alive. They are, particularly if you're dealing with spiritual stuff, you're dealing with the dark side of stuff. Death to me, reversed, is something that should be dead, but it isn't. So that means people that are not dealing with things that they need to have dealt with. And then it comes back up to haunt them in whatever way. And then the Magician reversed is almost like how these people manipulate themselves and manipulate others and situations around them in order to cope with this. And that's why it's going to be really important for you to just observe and watch what goes on. Because I saw that with that Pisces reversed. Like, that's the 12th house reversed, the darkness in terms of like, you don't know what the fuck is going on. We're not talking about like lack of subconscious or like unconscious. This is like deep unconscious self and sense around. It's not just to do with, the subconscious or what we can't see. This is to do with like next level other worlds. And the Tower is here. The Tower is showing all of that. The Tower is showing that is the case. Like, it is the case. It may be that you had a belief system about something and you thought that something was going to be one way, and fuck me, it's not. It's a completely different way. So for you to be able to go forward, I have got an analogy. I have got a situation. But I don't know whether or not I should say it. Ah, fuck it. So basically, I remember when I was doing my very first like initial training in shamanic work, and we were told about the things that we might have to do, you know, or we weren't told about the things that, we weren't told about the things that we had to do. There was someone who came and they said about how they had come across some very big, dark thing, entity, whatever you want to call it, right? Some big kind of dark energy. And, you know, first and foremost, the ability to be able to like recognize and see that you can like, you know, that you have some kind of like hearing about this. I wouldn't go as far as a connection, but the idea that somebody would be talking to you about this, or that you are privy to this kind of information, that someone is telling you that they had to deal with this big thing of somebody saying that they are possessed by something or whatever, like that is fucking intense. Like that's really intense. But it was interesting because I remember when I heard that, I freaked out. Like seriously, I freaked out. I was like, what the fuck is that about? Like, I don't know if I want to be like dealing with these kind of things. Then as time has gone on, I've realized that not only is this something that in a way I've been dealing with like all my life, and we're not talking about just like the little things. We're talking about the real dark shit, yeah, that comes up and you're just like, how am I still here on this planet? And how am I, you know, like to be able to do certain things, you know, it's almost like it wasn't you, you know what I mean? That's when something takes you over, when you see people in a sense of like real kind of state of suffering, or that they're in a place where they really are not acting from a place of love. That's like the darker places where not necessarily is it like us that are being kind of, we're not acting from our highest good, from our true selves. We're acting from something else. And in the idea of shamanism, we are filled with like, you know, we end up carrying these things unintentionally, of course, but sometimes we have insecurities and doubts which cause these kind of like notches or holes within us that allow these things to come in. And when somebody is kind of completely taken over by these things, it can get a little bit frightening. But when you do like the work of like a healer, or particularly with energy work, you are exercising these things from people. You are helping people, and in a way you are doing it as well. So what I mean by this here, and what this story is saying, is that I realized that I had the ability to be able to do that, but fuck me, I was still fucking scared, yeah, right, to do that. But the problem is that if you are fearful, then that's also part of the feeding of it. This is all very nice to speak about intellectually, but when you do it like in an actual context of healing, it's really fucking scary initially. And then as you go deeper into the work, and then you understand how to deal with these things, then you kind of gain a little bit more of a understanding of how the system works and how these things work, and what is your level as well, like what you can negotiate and what you can't. Like, I'm not going to go in and do something that's really out of my control. I'm going to understand a situation, I'm going to assess it, and then if this is too big for me, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to take a step back and then maybe come back with reinforcements, or come back when I've got a better plan, or maybe not doing anything at all, because maybe in this lifetime it's not mine to do. That's also another big thing as well, realizing that with healing work. So that's what's fucking going on here. That's what's going on here. Because you're dealing with some dark energies here. You're dealing with some dark energies. Not personally. It feels like this is your calling to do that. It feels like this is what's going on. I really resonate with this pile. I usually don't resonate with pile 3. I always want to be pile 3. I don't know about this one, but yeah, it's like, it's mad. But yeah, like, and also we've got this one with the 8 of Cups. I honestly don't think it's too, like, I know this sounds really contradictory to what I've just said, but it's not that big a deal. because I feel like you're already on the path. I feel like this is something that you already know that you might have had to come up against. But, you know, what's really interesting as well, and another thing that I've learned on this path, is that it's not about you being more powerful. It's about you knowing how to deal with things. That's why the fox is there. That's why it's about this Rubik's Cube and about understanding how to deal with it. Because it's almost like, you know, you don't, like, there's this idea that you blast things with, like, light energy and, like, it will get rid of stuff. But I prefer the idea that you absorb it and you transform it. And that takes a fucking lot. Like, it's for me, it derives from a practice called Tonglen, which is an amazing meditative, meditation, which is done in Buddhism. But it's intense, like, to be able to take on the darkness and transform it. But it is so powerful, because then it means that, you know, it can't really affect you, you know, because you're able to transform it. It doesn't mean that you take it on. It means that you transform it. And that takes skill, that takes dexterity, and it also takes courage. So that's what's going on here. Fucking hell, man. That was, like, way deeper than I anticipated. Let's get you some pearls of wisdom to help you on your way. So, I mean, like, okay. So in reference to your question, part 3, what are the next steps on your current path? You need to make a fucking plan, man. You need to make a plan on what you're doing, so that when you come up against this bullshit, and I'm telling you, it comes up in all manner of ways, yeah? All manner of ways. It's not just like, you know, some exorcism kind of vibe. It can be in the form of, like, really toxic people, which unfortunately can happen. The more you kind of get into this kind of work, the more you see them. I saw it when I was an actor. The higher up I went, the more toxic it got. The higher up you get, it does get more toxic, because there's more kind of prices that you have to pay. It's the same like with what goes on with money. People who are super rich are around a very toxic environment. They are living a life, but they are in a very toxic space, you know, because it's all ruled by money. So it's like, you have to be aware of that, okay? I'm going to just take, okay, these two. I choose hope over fear. That's another thing. That's why, like, you've really got to have the right context in terms of the love thing. Yes, love does conquer all. It really does. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, it does. But you have to be really, it has to be filled with knowledge, wisdom, and integrity in order for you to go forward. And I think what's going on here is that you may be stepping on the next part of your spiritual deepening, healing, awakening. It could be that, like, some of you are fighting for some kind of environmental cause, like as it says here, environmentalism, and then now you're recognizing, like, the kind of complexities of it. So, for example, like, the complexities of what's going on with the mining of minerals for phones and things like that, and how, like, the labor that is there within those kind of systems is so fucked up. Like, to be able to change that is something that is really, like, it's so enmeshed. It's something that's just so dark. Like, you don't know how you're going to be able to help people with it. But I remember seeing this journalist, I think it was on the Joe Rogan podcast, like, he goes in and he investigates this. And he knows that even at the cost of his life, like, it may, you know, it may be his end. But then essentially he knows that he's doing good work by bringing this to the public eye and showing that, and really going in and investigating things like, you know, slavery, and also other places, those kind of work. So that's also here as well. So it might not just to be with the esoteric in terms of, like, what I'm saying with, like, dark energies. It could be that you find that you're doing investigative work that could be quite, you know, it could be dangerous. So I do say this as a warning to, like, some of you, that just make sure you got your fucking plan intact, man. Seriously, like, make sure you got your plan intact. Because you're wondering, you've come to this reading to understand, like, what is your next steps. Have a plan, a really good one. Okay, and be hopeful about that. Be hopeful. I'm not here to scare anybody or to do anything like that. This is about you being able to make the right decisions. If this reading doesn't resonate, please just switch off and choose another pile or something, because this is quite heavy, and I will be putting a trigger warning on this pile. Okay, so this card here, this other pearl of wisdom. Whoa, look at that. Positivity is a choice that I choose to make. You've got to be positive in these situations, man. If you're not positive in these situations, like, you know, even though you're going into these dark spaces, you have to be positive. You have to be. Oh, okay. Well, they didn't want to come out. I left some cards by accident. Okay, so pile 3. Please, can you think, excuse me, of a yes or no question? A yes or no question about your next steps. And, you know, think about it. Yes or no? Yes or no? Pause the video if you wish. And let's go. Next steps for my pile 3s. My incredible pile 3s. It seems like they're doing some insane work in the world. And I'm calling upon all of my angels, ancestors, guardians to help pile 3 to make sure that they are protected and that they communicate with their guardians, ancestors, angels to protect my pile 3s in the work that they are doing. Wow, look at that. Shit, it's a fucking... Look, it's a unicorn. A unicorn. Yes. Your experience is valid. Pay attention to the details. Release resistance. And think about things differently. Magic. Listen, yeah? Look at that unicorn. That unicorn means business. That ain't no fluffy like, oh yeah, rainbow unicorn. That's a unicorn that looks like it's gonna like do some damage. So seriously, you are badasses, pile 3. You are serious badasses. You are just incredible, pile 3. And remember, like, you know, you're being called to do this work, this job, whatever it is, whatever it is. I love you, pile 3. I think you're wicked. I think you're amazing. It's so cool though. Like, I really wanted to, I really always want to resonate with pile 3, and I feel like I'm doing it, so that's so cool. Okay, so I am going to give you one last card to close out the reading. Please make sure that you only take what resonates. And remember, I know that my pile 3s won't feel offended by this reading. They'll know that I'm just confirming what they already know. Otherwise, just switch off the thing and just remember that I'm some random YouTube reader. I don't know anything. If you want to go deeper, you can contact me. Okay? I love you. Anyway. Dance on the back of a crocodile. I mean, you know, you can't make this shit up, can you, really? Dance on the back of a crocodile, because that's what we do, don't we? And we laugh in the face of danger. No, we don't. We just dance. Actually, you know what's really interesting? And I'm sorry I said we laugh in the face of danger. No. Dancing on the back of the crocodile is really interesting, because I don't even think that the crocodile even knows that it's there. And that's one of the key components of this work. Like, you have got to be ninja. A ninja. You've got to slip in and out. And that's how you work in these kind of like dark kind of situations. So, yeah. Pile 3, Jesus Christ, that was a reading. I will be putting a trigger warning on that reading, because that was deep. And please don't come for me, okay? I'm just telling it as it is. And I know that this message will get out to the right people who need to hear it. Otherwise, please do like this video if you liked it. Please do subscribe, hit the bell icon and all that other good stuff. If you want to comment and share, please do. I'd love to hear about this one, because this is mad. Have a wonderful morning, evening, day or night, whenever you're choosing to watch this. Please do take care of yourselves. I love you so much. And remember, honesty is always key. Bye.